All right, we welcome those of you who just watched the conclusion of Georgia Ole Miss. Dave Fleming, Brock Osweiler, Caleb Burton here in Provo, Utah. Absolutely nightmarish start for BYU. They win the toss, they lose the toss, take the ball. Iowa State deferred. They almost fumbled on the kickoff. First play of scrimmage, BYU throws an interception, and now Iowa State has first and goal. Rocco Becht slings it out right side. Touchdown, Cyclones. Jalen Null. So it took 3 plays to turn the first play interception into 6 points, and Iowa State on the road is on the board first.
How about that complimentary football to start the game for the Cyclones? I love the play call. Play selection by Nate Shieldhouse, offensive coordinator, comes out, sets the tone early, dials up a couple runs on first and second down, comes out with the play action. Just out leverages the BYU Cougars defense to get the first points on the board.
Chase Contreras with the point after try. It is up and good. So Iowa State couldn't ask for anything more at the beginning of the game. For BYU, that's as bad a start as you could dream up. And literally, the kickoff was fumbled, but BYU recovered their own fumble, so they dodged one bullet. And then the very first play from scrimmage, this happened.
Just an absolute catastrophic start for the Cougars. Will McLaughlin credited with the interception. Retzloff just needed to check that football down in the flat. Then you get a little dose of Eli Sanders, running back for Iowa State, coming back on first and second down. And then Rocco Becht punches it in with the touchdown pass to Jalen Null to get the Cyclones on the board first.
This is Jake Retzloff's first home start for BYU, junior college transfer who started for the first time last week on the road. A game that did not go well for BYU at West Virginia. So a bounce back week for the Cougars has not started the way they wanted it to. Both teams at 5-4. Crazy year in the Big 12 and a wild day. Almost like a pop-up kickoff. No fair catch signal though. BYU's going to return it, and now the ball's out! Scooped up by Iowa State! And it's the second turnover already. We haven't even played 2 minutes. The fullback, Ray Paulo, was the up man. He took the kickoff and decided to return it instead of signaling fair catch. He fumbled it, recovered by Iowa State.
Iowa State catching BYU asleep at the wheel. What a nightmare start for the Cougars tonight. Already 2 turnovers. Ray Paulo's been a special teams ace for BYU this season. Someone that the coaching staff and his teammates can trust, coughing up the football.
They've had 2 kick returns and 1 play from scrimmage. They have either fumbled or thrown an interception all 3 times they've touched the ball. They recovered 1 of their own fumbles. Literally, they've only touched it 3 times, and they put it on the ground, so to speak, 3 times. Iowa State with Norton now the running back alongside Rocco Becht. And Norton gets the handoff, cuts it upfield inside the 15. And gains 4 on first down. A.J. Vongpachan with the tackle for BYU. Cougars really need their defense to come up with some kind of play here in the first couple minutes.
Certainly, we need to see how BYU responds to the sudden change. They've been put in 2 very difficult situations tonight already. Back-to-back turnovers. Not easy to defend a short field, but somehow, some way, the BYU defense is going to need to come up with a play to help out their football team.
You saw that graphic. Iowa State scored every time they've had the ball in the red zone in conference play. Becht takes the shotgun snap, now throws short right. The catch and the immediate tackle. Null with the catch, driven out of bounds by Jacob Robinson, and a penalty flag is down. Play as it stands a couple yards short of the first down. We'll see what the penalty is.
Illegal shift. 2 players in motion and not getting reset. 5-yard penalty. Still second down.
An illegal shift penalty against Iowa State will move the Cyclones back.
Well, it looks like only a penalty right now can get Iowa State out of rhythm. Nate Shieldhouse in complete control of this football game with his play calling early on. Great mix of run and pass, getting his quarterback outside the pocket, keeping him comfortable.
Second down and 11 into traffic. That pass is caught. The tight end Ben Bramer, who's really emerging, true freshman, as a big-time target for Iowa State. They think he's going to be a future star. That was a tough guy catch by Bramer.
Yeah, it certainly was. Great catch by the big tight end. Camden Garrett, the cornerback for BYU, who's having a tremendous season, comes up, lays the wood, cloud corner. Great job by Becht putting that football on his tight end so his tight end could secure the catch before the big hit.
It's a good, energetic crowd tonight, trying to help their team after about the worst start you could ever imagine. Sprinting left, Becht throws, and it's incomplete. He threw it high, intended for that same tight end, Bramer, who's going to be short no matter what. So for the Cyclones, a field goal team will come on the field, and for BYU's defense, that's a good hold.
Yeah, great job by free safety Crew Wakely there, coming up on the play, hitting the big tight end, Ben Bramer. Diagnoses what the Cyclones are trying to do. They're just trying to out-leverage the tight end to the flat versus man coverage. Crew Wakely diagnoses the play there to deliver the big hit and force the field goal.
So Contreras from 31 yards out from that right hash, who's good place kicker. Cyclone special teams has been excellent. That kick is up, and it is good. So an interception turned into a touchdown, then the kick return fumble turned into a field goal, and it's 10-0 Iowa State. Exactly like the one we've had in the first few minutes of this game. Iowa State with a 10-0 lead immediately here in Provo against BYU. Dave Fleming, Brock Osweiler, great to have you with us. I mean, I don't want to say like crisis time for BYU, but that is about as shaky a start as you'll ever see. BYU's got to stabilize here.
No, you're exactly right. BYU couldn't have dug themselves into a worse hole early in this football game. 2 possessions, 2 turnovers. But if you're an Iowa State fan, you love what your team's doing. They're playing complementary football. They're taking those turnovers and the sudden change, turning it into 10 points. And it's a great start on the road, especially for a team that controls their own destiny when it comes to the Big 12 title.
Even a sarcastic cheer on the touchback on the kickoff. Let's go down on the field to Kayla Burton.
Well, guys, you have been talking about it, but quarterback Jake Retzloff is clearly not in his flow. And this is not only his second career start, but his first start at home in front of his friends and family. And he tells me he has a bunch of them in the crowd. And he's looking to bounce back, as we know. Head coach Kalani Sitake told me we got to focus on 3 things when we start this game. It's playing clean football, executing on downs, and making sure we're taking care of the football. It's not been going their way so far.
I would say 0 for 3 so far. A quarterback run. The BYU fans looking for a penalty flag because Retzloff was shoved as he got out of bounds. No flag was thrown. He gets 8 yards on the first down run.
I'm always excited to see how a young quarterback will bounce back early in a football game after a turnover. Jake Retzloff making his second career start, had the interception on the first series of the game. How does he handle adversity early on?
2 plays, 2 turnovers. One of those was on a kick return. Aiden Robbins, who's a very talented running back, out into the open, a big gain on the ground. Robbins, his first touch. See what happens when they don't give it to the other team? They have some playmakers, BYU does. Robbins with a gain of 37.
Well, I can promise you the BYU faithful are happy to see the run game back. Just a little speed option with Aiden Robbins working on 52. Joey Peterson, huge gain for the Cougars.
Robbins gets another carry straight ahead and another nice gain. He'll get first down yardage inside the 25, or at least very close, maybe a half a yard short.
Cougars elect and play with tempo.
Retzloff, a mobile quarterback, is going to give it, and Robbins goes backwards, so he lost a couple yards. Tyler Onyedem, who's having a really good year, defensive end for the Cyclones, number 11, made the tackle for loss.
Onyedem, 6'4", 295 pounds, just gets a great start off the line at the snap, able to get into the backfield and make a play on big running back Aiden Robbins.
That's what BYU's been seeing too much of. Their offensive line has really not played well, not up to BYU standards. So instead of 2nd and a half a yard, now it's 3rd and a full 2. Retzloff will keep it. Bounce it left side. He gets to the corner. Retzloff upended inside the 10. It'll be 1st and goal down inside the 5. Bo Freeler saved the touchdown, but that's a gain of 19 yards.
I love what offensive coordinator Aaron Roderick is doing. He's presenting a lot of eye candy to the Cyclones defense. Motion, quarterback zone read. Credit Retzloff with the great run.
Now Deion Smith in the backfield. No Robbins. Smith along with Retzloff, and Smith does not get the ball. Retzloff kept it, and he might have lost a yard on 1st and goal. Shoved out of bounds by the excellent defensive back, TJ Tampa.
And that's one that Retzloff is going to wish that he handed off. TJ Tampa's not going to be fooled. One of the best defensive backs in the country. Stays home, great with his eye discipline. Retzloff needs to hand that football off.
I mean, this is the part of the field, Brock, where BYU, when they've had their best teams over the last few years, I mean, BYU has overpowered teams in the red zone, and it is just not happening. You saw that number, last 10 quarters of offense, 1 touchdown for the Cougars. Shotgun snap. Retzloff throws. That's a touchdown. JoJo Phillips. And I think that's his first career catch. It's in the end zone. And for BYU's offense, a much-needed positive drive. It's 10-6 with an extra point coming.
What a great sequence by the BYU Cougars, answering down 10-0. Watch how free safety Bo Freeler, number 17, steps up with the play action. That's what a good run game can do. If you're running the football efficiently, the play action will get the linebackers and safeties to bite up, which allows Jake Retzloff to pop the touchdown pass to JoJo Phillips.
7 plays, 75 yards. A much-needed touchdown on the only pass of the whole drive.
And you know what? I think a lot of credit needs to go to Aaron Roderick. The BYU Cougars are not known to play fast. They huddle a lot.
This Veterans Week presented by USAA, and we're recognizing U.S. Army First Lieutenant Noma Kerr. Noma and her husband, Joe, both served. Noma's 102 years old. She's here tonight as the honorary captain. 36 of her children and grandchildren have attended BYU. Many of them have been athletes. She's still a huge fan. She's 102, and she's here tonight. And I've got a smile on my face because of that. BYU, meanwhile, the crowd's back into this game. Cougars with a drive to get in the end zone after they turned it over twice in the first minutes of the game and gave up 10 immediate points. Now it's 10-7. Iowa State will get the ball for the first time sort of in normal drive starting position.
Well, credit BYU. They could have folded early on in this game. That was about as bad as of a start of a football game as I've ever seen. 2 turnovers through 2 drives, down 10 points. But they answered the bell. Got a touchdown on that last drive. Very impressive.
Abu Sama, talented true freshman tailback, is behind Rocco Becht. Becht is pressured, and he's going down. Pressure came immediately. Tyler Batty into the backfield to get the sack. It's a loss of 9.
The heart and soul of the BYU Cougar defense, Tyler Batty, the emotional leader, consistent player. You're going to see linebacker number 11, Tager, blitzes, which helps create the one-on-one block for Tyler Batty. Just wins with the swim move. What a great play by Tyler Batty.
And Iowa State's only given up 8 sacks in 9 games total. Their offensive line's been really good. Now this pass incomplete. Intended for the tight end, Bramer. Maybe just a little bit off target there with that pass. It'll be 3rd and 19 for the redshirt freshman quarterback.
BYU couldn't have started this football game any worse. They've lost 3 of the last 4 games, but they're a game away from being bowl eligible. They're at home, Lavelle Edwards Stadium. You're about to hear a great 3rd down right here.
Becht steps up. Going to try to run, and he's going to get walloped. Did not slide, took a big hit. Down at the 20, Max Tooley, who had some help, will get credit for the tackle. It's 4th down, and the Cyclones are going to have to punt.
Not a lot of play calls for 3rd and 19. Becht nowhere to go with the football down the field. Tooley and Batty, the 2 captains and leaders of this defense, came in with a big hit on the young quarterback, Rocco Becht.
I can't remember a worse start, and I can't remember a faster flip of momentum in a game than this one. That punt, no fair catch signal. Returned back to the 35 by Parker Kingston, who is back to receive that punt for BYU. Now a Cyclones player might be down and hurting. So the BYU offense is going to get it now for the third time. It is a great home field advantage. All season long, student sections across the country competing to be the Taco Bell Live Más Student Section of the Year. Download the Taco Bell app to learn more. And you said it, Brock. I mean, this is a BYU team that's really been struggling. They played about as bad a game as they've played in the last decade last week on the road at West Virginia. Just got smoked. And they come back home, and their fans embrace them with incredible energy and enthusiasm. Keaton Slovis, who's been banged up, should be available in an emergency tonight. He's been the starter for most of the year. Saw him in the yellow baseball cap. Tonight, the second quarterback, Jake Retzloff, who led the touchdown drive last time BYU had it. Back on the field, Aiden Robbins, the tailback, on 1st and 10 from the 25. Robbins gets stuffed. Nice play by Dominique Orange and the front for Iowa State. There's Keaton Slovis.
Talk about a quarterback that's had a great college career, started his career at USC, made a trip to Pitt, now at BYU, thrown for over 11,000 yards and 80 touchdowns in his career. Just a little banged up on the season.
Yeah, having a hard time with that shoulder. It's given him a lot of problems over his career. Now Retzloff slipped as he started to take off, and then Gary Vaughn delivered a big hit. Retzloff did get some positive yardage, but it's going to be 3rd down and about 7.
Gary Vaughn, the 6-year senior, coming in, delivering the big blow to Retzloff. Jake's not going to want to take a lot of hits like that tonight.
That running dimension for him, that's a big reason why he is playing. With BYU's offensive line struggling, they need more mobility from the quarterback spot.
They certainly do, and his escapability outside the pocket is huge. He just needs to know when it's time to slide and get down versus trying to run over a defender.
From the shotgun, Retzloff slings it across the middle, knocked away, incomplete. And there's TJ Tampa. Man, he is so good. One of the very best defensive backs in all of college football, trying to hit the tight end Erickson. It's 4th down.
Well, cornerback on a tight end. Ethan Erickson, the tight end. TJ Tampa, you just mentioned it, one of the best cornerbacks in all of college football. Quarterback put the football where it needed to be, but there's not a lot of receptions that happen on Tampa. He did a great job of getting a hand in there at the last second and breaking up the pass.
Ryan Rico, the punter, with Jalen Null back to receive. Very good return man for Iowa State. They pressure the punt and almost blocked it. Rico, a booming punt, but it is definitely returnable. No, left sideline. That was good coverage. All things considered by BYU, that was set up to be a big return. 59-yard punt, but a relatively short return. The Cyclones offense. All right, Matt, thank you. Iowa State gets the ball back, and Abu Sama somehow found his way back close to the original line of scrimmage. He was going in the wrong direction for a while there. Eddie Heckard, defensive back with a lot of support from linebackers and defensive linemen. It'll be 2nd down.
Did you happen to catch the Blake Corum interview after the Michigan-Penn State game today?
I got distracted by the head coach interview.
Yeah, absolutely. I understand that, but the Corum, the blood coming down, got cracked in the forehead. It was just, to me, it was everything about November college football. It got me fired up.
He had a great game. 2nd and 11. Sama did lose a yard on that carry. Becht looked left, throws right. It's caught by Null, who cuts it upfield. Nice open field tackle short of the 35 by Crew Wakely, so it'll be 3rd down.
Great job of Rocco Becht navigating the big defensive tackle that was in his lane on that screen pass. Just kind of a double-edged screen pass. You could pass to the field or the boundary. You pick a side based upon defense and numbers. Rocco made the right decision, but he had a big defensive lineman he needed to navigate to make that an accurate throw for Jalen Null. Great job by the young quarterback. Keep an eye on the motion guy, Benjamin Bramer.
At young tight end Throw across the middle and delivered perfectly from Becht to Jaden Higgins. That's an Iowa State first down. Gain of 15.
What a great read and throw by Becht. Little high-low action on the hook defender. Higgins or Benjamin Bramer were his two options. Made the right read, delivered an accurate throw. Great job picking up a fresh set.
Quick tempo for Iowa State. And a run straight ahead. BYU is not very organized. The chain gang wasn't organized. Nobody was organized. Sama just rushed it straight ahead.
I like what both teams are doing tonight. They're playing with the pace. Sometimes they're going in this NASCAR lightning tempo as fast as you possibly can. I've seen what we call a muddle huddle, where you're not really in a hurry, but you're also not huddling. And I've also seen huddling out of both units. So I love the mix and change of pace by both coordinators early on.
And that's Eli Sanders now. Iowa State really rotating its tailbacks early.
Previous play is under further review.
Now they're going to
substitution infraction.
Review, and I think they're checking to see if BYU actually had too many men on the field. They were scrambling to get a couple guys to the sideline, and so upstairs this Big 12 crew is going to take a look. You can review that. I thought the players who were hustling to the sideline got out of bounds before the ball was snapped, but I didn't do the full count of everybody who was left on the field. Let's count.
Yeah, I'm with you, Dave. I was always under the assumption.
After further review, there is no foul for legal substitution. 11th player was running off the field. Second down.
I think that's a good call.
Yeah. We skipped 12. We went right to 13. We didn't quite get it exactly when the ball was snapped, but hey, after all that, the play stands. They were legal defensively at 2nd and 4.
12, 13, you get the point.
Rocco Becht, who has been thrust into the starting job at Iowa State, maybe a little earlier than anybody would have anticipated. All the turmoil leading into the season in the early weeks, and some of that still has lingered. Rocco's gotten better and better. He's got a great football pedigree. His dad was an excellent NFL player. Anthony's here tonight to watch his kid play. Handoff left side. Huge amount of room for Sama, who gets down to the 30 and is finally knocked down by Crew Wakely, but a gain of 16.
Big old left tackle, 75, James Neal in the center. Jim Boniface out there leading on the edge with the pole. Allows Abu Sama to capture the edge. Great execution by the Cyclones.
Another good throw here on first down. Daniel Jackson with the catch after Becht fitted in nicely. Gain of 11 more yards for Iowa State on the move.
You mentioned Rocco Becht playing better as the season goes. Just like that last play, I think one of the things that he's done so well these past couple weeks is he's so decisive with the football. When he hits that back foot, it's coming out. He's decisive with his reads, and it really jumps out on film. You can see his leadership. His intangibles are off the charts when you talk to his teammates and the coaching staff. Someone that we think has a very, very high ceiling in the years to come.
Statistically, he's been about the most productive freshman quarterback in the country. Sanders straight ahead inside the 5. Big gain on the ground for Iowa State. It'll be 1st and goal, Cyclones.
When we talk about big 75 James Neal, a play ago, pulling out there, leading the way. This time he slices back across the line of scrimmage from that left tackle position. He's someone who is super athletic and versatile at 6'6", 330 pounds.
Already 57 rush yards and better than 6 yards a carry for Iowa State on the ground. It was a huge issue for BYU last week. They got bulldozed by West Virginia on the ground. All right, the officials allow BYU to substitute. Play clock down to 2. They get it snapped. Becht, quarterback keeper, and Rocco Becht just really had nowhere to go. Maybe got a yard on 1st and goal.
Would have bet a lot that was going to be a pass to big tight end Benjamin Bramer. He was matched up at the top of the screen with the safety Crew Wakely. Ben Bramer at 6'7", 240 pounds. He runs like a wide receiver. Someone to keep an eye on. He's going to the sideline now on 2nd down, but keep an eye on as this game moves along in the red zone. It's definitely a go-to target for Rocco Becht.
Eli Sanders at tailback on 2nd and goal. Sanders gets the ball. Touchdown, Iowa State. Man, are they moving the line of scrimmage up front. Huge holes for the running backs. And the second touchdown in this first quarter for the Cyclones from 4 yards out for Eli Sanders.
Great job by the Iowa State offensive line leading down the field on this drive. Left tackle James Neal with another pull to bring Eli Sanders into the end zone. This is an offensive line that has allowed the fewest sacks in the Big 12 this season. But when it comes to the run game, it's something that they've gotten better at every single week when you talk to offensive coordinator Nate Scheelhaus.
9 plays, 71 yards. Second touchdown of this opening 15 minutes. Extra point up and good. It is 17-7. Iowa State on the road with a 10-point lead.
That's an impressive drive. BYU had captured the full momentum. Iowa State gets the the football back. Offensive line leads the offensive unit down the field for a score and silences the crowd.
Yeah, young quarterback. We were talking to his head coach just a moment ago. For more on Rocco, let's go down to Kayla.
Well, guys, you talk about Rocco's dad, but shout out to Rocco's mom, Deanne Becht. She texts him every single game day, a game day quote to motivate him. And I asked him, all right, well, what's tonight's quote? It's this: never let the fear of failure stand between you and your biggest dreams. Shout out, Mom.
That's a good one for this week, I think.
I love it.
Sometimes one every day. Sometimes there's a quote of the week. Always checking in with her kid. Rocco gets a lot of support from both mom and dad. Mom's focused on the field. Dad's looking at his phone. Come on, Anthony. Kickoff short. And returned by BYU out to the 30 by Keelan Marion. So the Cougars offense gets the ball back here. There's Anthony Becht on the far right there. Great player, All-American at West Virginia, first-round draft pick, 12 years in the NFL. He's a football coach. He's been a broadcast colleague of ours.
I was going to say, you want to talk about a stud tight end? We've been talking about Benjamin Bramer, Isaac Rex for BYU. That man knew how to play the tight end position. It's a quarterback's best friend when you get tight ends like that matched up on linebackers and safeties.
He's a guy we both know very well, and his kid is turning into a heck of a young quarterback for Iowa State. Handoff on first down, BYU. That's Aiden Robbins, big, powerful running back. He got upended by Malik Verdon. Safety got 4 yards on first down. Final minute of quarter number 1.
I love the patience and vision there by running back Aiden Robbins. Just a basic inside zone play. Nowhere to go inside. He's patient, bounces it outside, finds some positive yards to make it second and manageable.
Retzloff looking to the sideline to get an adjustment to the call. On second down. He'll keep it. No. Yes, he will. On the right side, and some good ball handling by Retzloff, and you can see why they like his running ability. That's a first down Cougars, gain of 10.
Well, he fooled us and defensive end number 11, Tyler Onyedem, on the edge. Onyedem thought the running back had the ball, crashed hard down the line of scrimmage. Retzloff did a great job of seeing what the defense was doing, pulled it, took advantage of the look.
You like that play-by-play call? Yes, no, yes. 10 yards first down for BYU after their horrendous start. First play from scrimmage, an interception. Iowa State taking advantage of their turnover defense, but BYU hanging around in this game. We'll go to quarter number 2.
Coach, you couldn't have drafted a better start. What do you need to see from your team in your second quarter?
Well, to win on the road in this conference, you got to play 4 great quarters. And this is a great football team we're playing. They play great at home, and we got to be able to put 4 quarters together.
What are you telling your quarterback?
Well, you got to keep his poise, keep playing good football, and we got to take care of the football the rest of the game.
Thanks for your time.
Thanks so much.
All right, Kayla, and Matt Campbell, head coach of Iowa State, 8th year in charge of this Iowa State program. I think it's not a debate. The greatest coach in the history of Iowa State football. You can break it down a lot of different ways. Most wins in the last 25 years, basically all under Matt Campbell, other than that one season. You go back in their long football history, this is easily the most consistently successful era for Iowa State football. Matt Campbell, 5 consecutive winning seasons. That had never been done before. Handoff BYU. After a drop on the first play of the second quarter, a short gain to set up third down here. Dave Fleming, Brock Osweiler Caleb Burton, 17-7, Cyclones with the lead.
This is certainly not the down and distance the Cougars want to be in. They want to live in that 3rd and 6 or less. Having that drop on first down really hurt. Only picking up a yard on second down. See what the young quarterback's able to do here.
Close to midfield. If you got some of the yardage back, you could go for it on 4th down. We'll see. It's 3rd and 9. Retzlaff is going to run an option and keep it and get wrestled down. My goodness, almost body slammed down by Joey Peterson. Got only a couple yards, and that's probably going to force a punt decision from Kalani Sitake. We'll see.
Great play by the junior defensive end, Joey Peterson, staying home, disciplined with his eyes. Ooh, that looks like a face mask.
Wow.
Cyclones got away with one there.
Really got away with one. That was pretty obvious. I don't know how nobody saw that on the field. That was blatant. So BYU will punt the ball back. Very high from Rico. It's going to bounce and bounce into the end zone for a touchback. Let's get another update in studio with Matt Berry.
Our AT&T countdown to the CFP National Championship. Texas needed this 3rd and 12 to seal the game. Adonai Mitchell over his shoulder. Texas survives 29-26.
Thank you, Matt. That's kind of what we were talking about. The chaos in the Big 12. Our CFP rankings brought to you by Prudential. Kalani Sitake hot after the no call on what should have easily been a face mask. So Texas is going to survive. Those bottom 2 teams playing teams in the top 5 both lost. Everybody else lives to see another day in the top 10.
Yeah, you're right. The top dogs handled business today. Ohio State, Georgia, Michigan, Florida State made it interesting. Washington had themselves in a battle with Utah. It's going to be tough to get a spot in that Final Four.
Now a play fake and the receiver falls. Now a penalty flag thrown as Becht took a hit. They're going to call roughing, and now the BYU fans are really going to be unhappy. The intended receiver, the running back Sanders, fell down.
Personal foul, roughing the passer, number 92 in the defense. 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
I think it's a good penalty. I don't think you can do that.
Yeah, it's just not necessary. It doesn't matter what you think about the penalty. It just had no business being done, right? So Tyler Batty, at that point in time, the ball's been released. You can clearly see that it is not in Becht's hand. No need to hit the quarterback, especially the way the rules are written in this day and age.
Yeah, and I think the main reason everybody's so unhappy was the face mask wasn't called on the 3rd down play, because it was, once we saw the replay, now we're a long way from the field of play. Once we saw the replay, it was pretty obvious.
Yeah, it was blatant. I'm not sure how that one was missed at field level by all the officials.
I mean, you get your whole back wrenched backwards, your neck and helmet turns.
Well, think about it. It kills the drive for BYU. They're forced to punt. You're at the 50-yard line. You're driving. You're about to get 15 yards. You're approaching red zone territory. It's a huge swing of events.
That is a bad missed call. Iowa State trying to take advantage of that with the ball back on 2nd and 11. The long throw out to the far sideline. Null with the catch, and he'll go out of bounds close to the 40, a little short of that. It'll be 3rd down.
Cougars applying a little cross dog blitz up the middle. Great play call, though, by Nate Shieldhouse, offensive coordinator for the Cyclones, recognizing pressure might be coming, getting his young quarterback outside the pocket for just a friendly little hitch throw to make it 3rd and manageable. Bottom of your screen, Ben Bramer, 6'7", tight end.
Becht trying to make a change to the call with the play clock winding down. Gets it snapped. Becht across the middle, and he hits his target perfectly. Null into BYU territory. 1st down. Gain of 15.
Great job by Becht, standing in the pocket, keeping his eyes down the field, recognizing man-to-man coverage by the BYU Cougars, finding Null across the middle on the basic crossing route.
Ooh, dangerous throw, trying to hit that tight end Bramer. Incomplete. It'll be 2nd and 10. Ethan Slade was the guy in the neighborhood, and he avoided an illegal hit on Bramer, who also, I think, was thinking about the possibility of a hit coming.
That's a smart heads-up play by Crew Wakely.
Well, 2nd and 10 now. Norton, the tailback. And he'll get the ball, trying to find a hole. There really just wasn't much there. Maybe got 2 on 2nd and long.
Cougars populating to the football. Seemed like all 11 defenders got there to make that tackle. Crew Wakely flying up from that free safety position, forcing the 3rd and long on Iowa State. I expect this stadium to play a 12th man role here on this 3rd down.
BYU talked about it a lot this week. They need their home field advantage. First year in the Big 12. The step up has not been easy. Play clock winding down again, and Iowa State has to use a timeout. Well, that ball was not going to get snapped in time. So the Cyclones use the timeout, and we'll take a timeout ourselves. 3rd and 8 coming up here. Iowa State on the move, leading at BYU 17-7. Well, next Saturday, our ABC primetime matchup. You and I, we are so excited that the big show's going to Corvallis. Oregon State is going to host number 5 undefeated Washington, Michael Penix. And the Huskies found a way to win at home against Utah. 7:30 next Saturday, 7:30 Eastern on ABC. Cosmo doing the Lambeau leap. Rocco Becht is going to try to scramble, and he is going to dive ahead and get the 1st down. What a nice improv play by the redshirt freshman quarterback. 1st and 10 Cyclones.
Great play by quarterback Rocco Becht. Keeps his eyes down the field for as long as he can. It's man-to-man coverage by the BYU Cougars. Nobody open early. Credit the BYU secondary. But when you're playing man-to-man defense, no one accounts for the quarterback. Rocco recognizes that, picks up a 1st down. Heads up play by the young quarterback.
Happened to a lot of kids, but during that COVID year when he was finishing up his high school career, he kind of got lost in the shuffle and really was not very heavily recruited by Power 5 teams at all. Becht is going to throw here into coverage, incomplete. Now, that was a dangerous throw. Got away with it. It'll be 2nd down.
Trying to hit his big tight end Benjamin Bramer down the sideline. Faking a little pump fake to the tunnel screen inside, trying to get the inside slot fade down the field. Credit the BYU Cougars, eye discipline and staying home. Nowhere to go with the football. Little fake block by the tight end and outside receiver. Just trying to isolate Ben Bramer on safety Crew Wakely. Ben Bramer at 6'7", 240 pounds. He's a mismatch for any safety or linebacker in the conference.
They've tried to get it to him. They haven't been successful yet. Now they hand the ball off, and Norton just had nowhere to go. Might have lost a half a yard. 3rd down and long once again for Iowa State.
That was safety Crew Wakely, number 38, blitzing off the edge, making the tackle. He's been flying around and making plays all over the field tonight. It's a beleaguered BYU. As much as their offense has struggled, their defense has too. Don't be surprised if you see a run or quick screen here. I have a good feeling this would be 4-down territory.
Play clock under 10. Dealing with the noise. Down to 4. Down to 2. Becht pressured, throws across the middle. That's Bramer, the tight end, who carries a couple defenders with him inside the 25 and gets the Iowa State 1st down. That's why they've targeted him a bunch of times. He's a playmaker, and there's that screen we were just talking about, a little inside tunnel screen by the tight end Ben Bramer. These are tough throws for a quarterback, but when you're throwing to a 6'7" target that's running back into the trenches, he's a lot easier to find. Very friendly throw by Rocco Becht. Great job by the tight end picking up the 1st down. That's 2 consecutive 3rd and long conversions for Iowa State to keep the drive going. Play fake. That throw is caught, and then a spin move after the first would-be tackler, Jaden Higgins, with the catch, and he gets another Iowa State 1st down, gain of 12. Cyclones, though, have a player down. That's the young right guard, I think, Brendan Black, who's become, if you could be a star as a freshman offensive lineman, he's become a star. So Iowa State hoping that he's going to be okay. We'll check on Brendan when we come back to Provo. Gets you ready for week 10 starting at 10 a.m. Eastern on ESPN. Chock full of good stories this week on NFL Countdown. Then Monday Night Football featuring Josh Allen and the Bills. Is something wrong with the Bills? Hosting Russell Wilson and the Broncos. 6 Eastern Monday Night Countdown gets that started on ESPN. 1st and 10. They could get a first down inside the 2. A handoff straight ahead. Touchdown, Iowa State. Cartevious Norton spun through a couple BYU defenders and waltzed into the end zone. Almost like Cosmo was dancing there as we came back from commercial. It's a touchdown, Cyclones, who have wrestled control of this game.
I am so impressed with offensive coordinator Nate Scheelhaus. The game he's calling. Rocco Becht, this isn't audible. It was originally going to be a pass. Rocco recognizes that BYU is playing a too-high safety look with a light running box. So he gets to the run play. Norton does a tremendous job with his vision. One cut back, finds the end zone. This Cyclones offense is playing efficient football, and they are in complete command.
Extra point up and good. 11 plays, 80 yards, couple really critical third down conversions for the Cyclones. So Iowa State with a 24-7 lead here. 8:02 to go until halftime. Dave Fleming, Brock Osweiler, great to have you with us. Late night here in Provo. I tell you what, Brock, the Big 12 is so crazy right now. I mean, we even saw that highlight a few minutes ago of Texas. Texas was totally in control of that game at TCU and then had to hang on for dear life. Iowa State gets Texas next. They still have to play Kansas State. But right now, you look at the way the Cyclones are playing. I know they lost last week. They have a chance to win this conference still.
Well, the Big 12 is always going to keep you on the edge of your seat, but you can really get the sense that Iowa State understands that they control their own destiny. They can get to the Big 12 title game just like you had just mentioned. If they win out, they're there. They're playing in Dallas in a couple weeks for the Big 12 title, and they're really putting on a strong performance tonight here in Provo.
You know, the whole story coming into this game, both teams with 5 wins. Can you make sure you get that 6th win and clinch bowl eligibility? Kick return and a good one for Marion outside the 35. It still applies. Both these teams are highly motivated after missing a chance last week to get win number 6. Just make sure we're going to get to play that extra game. But you see how tough the schedule is on both sides. BYU has to finish with Oklahoma here next week and then in Stillwater against Oklahoma State. Iowa State gets Texas at home, has to go to Manhattan.
Well, talking to both coaching staffs this week, getting ready for the football game, you really got a sense like this was that Week 18 NFL matchup where if you win, you make the final spot in the playoffs. If you don't, you go home. This is kind of boiled up to be that playoff game. Iowa State, they've gotten off the bus and they played a heck of a ball game already.
Not easy to come here and do what they're doing so far. Retzlaff is going to throw on the run, and it's incomplete. Man, there was a man there in coverage. Dangerous. Not tipped, not intercepted. It'll be 2nd down.
Retzlaff had that opening series interception. Gave it right to linebacker Will McLaughlin. But then he came back and he really settled into the football game. And he's made some great plays with his legs, coupled with his arms. This is a play, though, I'd like to see him make. He has some open wide receivers down the field. He likes to get outside the pocket. That's where he's at his best. He's usually accurate outside the pocket, but that's a throw he needs to make to a wide open wide receiver.
It's amazing. He's only completed 1 pass for 5 yards so far in this game. Almost everything for BYU on the ground. Little fake option, and they'll throw the screen, and then the receiver, Chase Roberts, slips and falls down and didn't get anything. Maybe a yard, maybe.
That was a good play call by Aaron Roderick. Great sell on the speed option of the field, coming back to the tunnel screen with Roberts. Roberts needs a tight turn that get outside to the sideline. There was a lot of yardage out there.
So now 3rd and 9. BYU down 24-7, in danger of giving the ball right back to Iowa State. They're going to need, you figure, at some point a pass completion down the field. Haven't had that yet. Three-man rush. Retzlaff throws over the top into coverage. Back shoulder knocked away, incomplete. Intended for JoJo Phillips. Miles Purchase, the cornerback, was there. 4th down.
That's a play Jake Retzloff's really going to want back when he watches the film tomorrow. He has wide receiver number 0, Cody Epps, down the middle of the field, wide open for a big play. Just needs to read that safety, give his wide receiver a chance. Chose to go to the outside instead. Retzloff just struggling getting into a rhythm in the passing game tonight. Like I had mentioned, he's made some plays with his legs, but he's going to have to find some completions down the field as this game moves along.
Man, as you were saying that too, and we watched that replay, you could see Cody Epps threw his hands up in the air like, oh my goodness, I was wide open. The ball dropped inside the 5 and now scooped up, and Null is returning it along the sideline. Well, that's making something out of not much, all the way out to the 35. The ball was sitting on the turf at the goal line. He's one of the best kick returners in all of college football. That could have been a disaster. Instead, turns into a positive play for Iowa State. They've taken control of this game and now in pretty good field position again. All right, let's see who's ruling the moment. Brought to you by Burger King. Brock, the ground game for the Cyclones been powerful so far.
I'd say so. Already almost 100 rushing yards on the night between running backs Sanders and Norton. Rocco Becht doing a great job at the line of scrimmage, getting his team into the proper play. That last touchdown, it was a pass. He checked to a run. You see Norton there getting into the end zone. I tell you what, this Iowa State football team showed up in Provo tonight ready to play some football.
And really changed their running success rate about halfway through this year. They've been a much better rushing offense second half of the season. Change of direction for Sanders and another good gain on the ground. They'll be shoved out of bounds shy of the 45 and just shy of the 1st down. Gain of 8. Averaging better than 5 yards a rush tonight. That guy, look, he's a true freshman, right guard, but he has made a big impact. Brendan Black, first true freshman offensive lineman to start for Iowa State in a while. It doesn't happen very often. He twisted his ankle, did something to his ankle. He's been getting some treatment. He's not on the field right now. They give him a lot of credit for turning this run game around.
Well, you just saw the stats. He started starting in week 5 this year, and he's really brought a mentality and an edge to this offensive unit.
Sama, the freshman running back, got drilled and goes backwards. Max Tooley gets him on the turf. So 2nd and short turns into 3rd and medium.
Max Tooley, the all-everything linebacker for the BYU Cougars. Just running over the top, not able. Offensive line not able to get to him. Tremendous open field tackler, textbook tackle. Youngsters at home, that's how you want to fundamentally get a running back down out in the open field.
BYU needs a 3rd down stop. They didn't get one on the last drive. They had a couple chances for it. Higgins in motion. Becht throws, caught by Higgins. 1st down, Iowa State. Needed 4, they got 6.
I'm so impressed with quarterback Rocco Becht tonight. Recognizes the all-out pressure by the BYU Cougars. Goes to his quick outlet. Cornerback number 7, Camden Garrett, kind of gets caught up in the wash there, in the junk. Little rub play outside, but Rocco Becht, he's just seeing the game so well tonight that you can tell it's coming to him slow. He's decisive with his decisions and has been extremely accurate with the football.
So 1st and 10, Iowa State. Now under 5 minutes to go, 1st half. Sanders, left side run to midfield into BYU territory, and finally brought down along the sideline by Raider Demooney.
The left side of the offensive line led by left tackle James Neal, really starting to take over. You see center number 63 Boniface in there winning his matchup.
Now BYU stuffs this play right at the line of scrimmage. Set up another 3rd down. No room this time for Sanders.
With the game clock approaching 4 minutes, BYU down 24-7. Iowa State getting the football to start the 3rd quarter. You really get a sense that this is a must stop right now for BYU, even though we're in the 2nd quarter.
Five for their last 5 on 3rd down. It's 3rd and 2. Becht is going to keep it straight ahead, and now 6 for their last 6. Another Cyclones 1st down. Just very impressive. And I tell you what, it's a high bar, Brock, but another Brock. They've started to talk about Brock Purdy when they discuss Rocco Becht and the impact that maybe he could have on this program. Brock Purdy, one of the great all-time Iowa State Cyclones, now a starter in the NFL. Last few weeks, you're starting to hear that comparison made.
Well, Becht's earned the conversation. Listen, his leadership and intangibles jump off the charts. He's already broke Brock Purdy's freshman record for completions in a season. He's earned that conversation.
1st and 10. Play fake across the middle and snatched out of the air beautifully by Daniel Jackson inside the 25. 19 more yards for the Cyclones offense.
Great throw and catch by Becht and Jackson. Front pad throw so Jackson can run through that. Defended by Camden Garrett on the outside, who's been a great cornerback for BYU this season. But it's that play action fake by Becht to his running back that gets the BYU linebackers to step up into the line of scrimmage to make it such a clear window to throw the football to Jackson to.
3 straight long, deliberate, time-consuming drives for Iowa State. This one not done yet. Down to 2.5 to go until halftime. Sama, great cut, and trying to use a blocker. Now just uses some power inside the 15 down to the 13. That was a pretty impressive run from the true freshman.
How about that cut by Sama? Someone the coaching staff says has huge potential for this Cyclones offense. Only a true freshman, just as you mentioned. Saw the cut he just made there. That's big-time playmaker written all over him.
I mean, under Matt Campbell, they have a tradition. David Montgomery, Breece Hall. Talking about really, really good running backs. Who knows? Maybe that kid can be the next one. Clock continues to roll. Under 2 minutes to go until halftime. Jay Hill's defense can't get off the field. Now Iowa State is going to use a timeout. Play clock was rolling down. And with all the momentum on the Cyclones' side, they did not want to risk a penalty. So we'll step aside. Iowa State on the move again. Looking pretty powerful right now, up 24-7. Look at what's happened in this second quarter. Iowa State is just bullying BYU. 9-play drive, 11-play drive, now an 8-play drive inside the 15, 1st and 10. Outgaining BYU in the second quarter, 118-4. Handoff right side, Sama. Another great cut by Sama. Gets away, and he's going to score. Wow. Abu Sama channeling Barry Sanders in the open field. 13 yards, Cyclones touchdown. It's 30-7 here in the first half.
Well, we were told Sama was explosive and he was a playmaker, and he has certainly put that on display this drive. What an impressive touchdown run by the true freshman running back.
Wow.
Unbelievable.
I don't use the Barry Sanders name lightly, but that's what it looked like. Defenders were just falling down and coming up empty. Extra point up and good with 1:28 to go in the first half. 31-7.
Abu Sama doing his very best Barry Sanders impression, breaking ankles out there, trying to get himself on SportsCenter's top 10. I'll tell you what, that is an impressive run for the freshman running back. Wow.
That's just naturally gifted. There are not many guys who can do that.
Some people are just born playmakers. And number 24, Abu Sama, is certainly that for the Iowa State Cyclones.
A true freshman from Des Moines. Went to Southeast Polk High School. He's had a few issues with the things that you expect young players to have issues with. Ball security, pass protection. The natural ability as a runner is there as he gets more confident in those other ways. Oh boy. Now a low line drive kick is going to go out of bounds. Well, that's a penalty against Iowa State. So that's going to give BYU at least better field position with 1:28 to go until halftime. Speaking of halftime, coming up on the Tums halftime report, Georgia, very impressive against a good Ole Miss team. Show you highlights of that one. Michigan without Jim Harbaugh, the emotion around that program right now, it is a chaotic week for the Wolverines. And then they got their best win of the year. And then Sam Acho will be ready to go with Kevin Connor's Acho Mind. And our Tums halftime report. Wow, Iowa State. 31. It was 10-7. Now it's 31-7. See if Retzlaff and BYU can come up with something here at the end of the half. Retzlaff did not get away from the second defender. Drilled into the ground by Caleb Bacon, who's still technically a walk-on. He's got like the most perfect Iowa name of all time. And Caleb Bacon comes up with the sack.
Caleb Bacon's been making a lot of plays for the Iowa State football team the last couple weeks. You mentioned it, a walk-on. His teammates and coaches say that he has a pro-like work ethic, just goes about his business the right way. Tough guy, leader, just someone that everyone on the team respects.
Better not be a walk-on for much longer. Retzlaff again is going to get sacked as he tried to scramble. Joey Peterson this time gets him to the ground. J.R. Singleton, who's been playing real well.
Yeah, and you're starting to hear the boo birds a little bit, and rightfully so. I understand. Jake Retzlaff, young quarterback, transferred in from junior college, making his second career start here at BYU. But these are just two back-to-back sacks that can't happen. They kill a drive, they kill the clock. You're down 31-7. Throw the football away before you lose the yardage.
Yeah, ugly. And now BYU's just going to hand the ball off, which kind of tells you everything you need to know. L.J. Martin with the carry. Iowa State, I think, is just going to allow those final seconds to tick off the clock. 6 passing yards for BYU in the first half. Outgained, outrushed, out-physicaled. Not a good half at home for a struggling BYU team. A great half for Matt Campbell's Iowa State Cyclones. Tums halftime report. It's like, hey, it's a game to get bowl eligible. The way Iowa State is playing right now, I think their goals should be a little loftier than that. And they will get the ball to start this second half. Let's check in on the sideline with Kayla.
Dave, I just spoke with BYU head coach Kalani Sitake, and I've been kind of with these guys all week, and he's pretty calm, composed, but I just talked to him, and he is fired up. He says, our team, we're not wanting it enough. We have to have more passion. He was harping on them inside this locker room. He says, each one of us, offensively, defensively, we have to do our job. He says, it starts with me as a head coach. He says, this is flat out embarrassing. So he says to me, you should expect to see a different passion this second half.
Okay, thank you, Kayla. The 100th game as the head coach at BYU for Kalani Sitake. He's been a great part of this program as a player and a coach for a long, long time. BYU defense stops the run play on the first play of the third quarter.
Just to piggyback on what Kayla just got from Kalani Sitake, I guarantee you he is evaluating every single player on his roster right now. He wants to see what players are willing to step up in these adverse times and make some plays for his ball club, because he's right, this is embarrassing in front of this home crowd. This is not BYU football.
Carson Hansen, the tailback, alongside Rocco Becht. The offense for the Cyclones was just unstoppable at the end of the half. A little pitch forward to Null, and that was good pursuit by the BYU defense. I think that's one player, Crew Wakely, number 38. I think he's playing well tonight.
Absolutely. I was just getting ready to say, that is somebody you do not need to evaluate. Crew Wakely has made the absolute most of his opportunities. A couple starting safeties went down early in fall camp for the BYU Cougars. Crew Wakely thrusted into that starting position early on this season, and he has certainly made the most of it.
BYU fans trying to help, just have something go right for the Cougars on 3rd down and 9. Play clock under 5. Becht pressured, throws incomplete. He got spun around, and so the throw was inaccurate. The pressure got to the Iowa State quarterback, and the Cyclones will punt it away.
Well, credit defensive coordinator Jay Hill there, bringing the pressure on quarterback Rocco Becht. Sent a cornerback cat blitz from the short side of the field to force Becht into the quick throw. Great play call by Jay Hill. Top of your screen, cornerback number 7, Camden Garrett, comes on the pressure, along with outside linebacker Max Tooley, forcing the quick throw.
So now a low line drive kind of punt, and it is returnable out to the 35 by Parker Kingston. So BYU's defense gets a stop, much needed. Now the BYU offense has to get it going. The passing game was non-existent. Now you're starting to look, I mean, this is yardage margin for the full season in aggregate. BYU's in the bottom 5 with the likes of UConn, Vanderbilt, Eastern Michigan, Nevada. Worst yardage margin for the season, including tonight.
Certainly not what the BYU faithful are used to. This is a football team that prides itself on physicality, the ability to run the football in between the tackles, and then off of that take play action shots when you get linebackers and safeties a step up. Just something they haven't been able to do all year.
A handoff straight ahead, and Aiden Robbins with some power running out to the 40. And they are glad to have Robbins back healthy. He cracked some ribs early in the year. His grad transfer from UNLV, was highly recruited by lots of programs around the country. Robbins again gets tackled just short. It'll be 3rd down.
You want to talk about somebody who wants to make the most of their opportunity. We have a Cougar down.
Timeout for an injured player.
The fullback, Ray Paulo, down on a knee. Was holding his lower back as he gets helped off the field.
Yeah, going back to Aiden Robbins and wanting to make the most of his opportunities. Talked about those rib injuries early on in the season, kept him off the field, came back against Texas Tech a couple weeks ago, really sparked this offensive run game, but he's really been in a battle with true freshman LJ Martin in that running back room for the starting spot going back to fall camp. This is somebody that really wants to make the most of his opportunities so he can grab hold of that starting position, not only for the end of this year, but going into next.
Came down to BYU and UCLA, recruited by lots of big programs across the country. 3rd and 2, handoff. Robbins does not get there. In fact, barely got back to the line of scrimmage, maybe didn't. So now it's 4th down, and frankly, I'd be surprised if BYU punts the ball here. If you're a head coach and you're trying to make a statement to your team, you got to go for it.
You're absolutely right. Have to go for it. Credit Joey Peterson, Jack Sadowski, middle linebacker number 33, true freshman a play ago, for getting in the backfield and forcing the 4th down. But you're exactly right. Kalani Sitake, no questions here. Down 31-7, trying to make a statement to your team. Got to pick up a 1st down.
The analytics say go, and the old school says we have to get this figured out. We got to go. LJ Martin, the pitch play. They're going to throw it back to Retzloff, who's then going to take off, and he will get the 1st down. He was looking downfield. His receiver was actually covered. So he went to plan B, and they convert on 4th down.
I like the play calling creativity by Aaron Roderick. Jake Retzloff, great job on picking up the 1st down. He did have his go-to target, Chase Roberts, 6'4", 210-pound receiver down the field in a one-on-one matchup. But in that situation on 4th down, take the guaranteed 1st down, pick it up with your legs. Great job getting a fresh set.
So near midfield, BYU, 1st and 10. Retzloff throws, and that one is caught by the tight end. Isaac Rex with the catch for another Cougars 1st down.
There you go. We haven't seen much of that out of BYU tonight. Quarterback hitting his back foot, getting the ball out accurately on time. Great pickup by the Cougars.
Only the 3rd completion of the game, and the longest completion, that was 13 yards. Rolling right, Retzloff looking downfield, now throws. Rex again, the tight end, and it'll be another BYU 1st down. Good awareness of Retzloff to know he was still behind the line of scrimmage. That's 13 yards on back-to-back plays.
Well, that's where Retzloff is most comfortable. It's when he gets outside the pocket. He does a great job keeping his eyes down the field. Finds tight end Isaac Rex. You got to remember, Isaac Rex is tied for the most touchdown receptions in school history with the late, great Gordon Hudson, College Football Hall of Famer.
That's pretty good company, and Isaac Rex, he's just struggled to get healthy again. He's had big-time injury problems. Such a good player when he was young. Hasn't produced at that level coming back from major injury. They're going to throw it down the field. There's Rex, caught! Touchdown! Parker Kingston, the wideout, made the throw. And that long-awaited next touchdown for Isaac Rex. He gets in. It's 31-13.
Well, there's the fight Kalani Sitake wanted out of his football team. Love what Aaron Roderick dials up there. Parker Kingston, the wide receiver, former high school quarterback. He's already thrown 1 touchdown this year on the road against Arkansas. Comes back with the trick play, finds Isaac Rex for the huge touchdown to get started in the 3rd quarter.
I think it warms all BYU fans' hearts to see Isaac Rex with 3 big plays on that drive. Now they're lining up to go for 2. They're going to reset the play clock because it went all the way down to 0, and the officials are saying push it back up.
Isaac Rex just broke the touchdown record.
He did, and there's nobody in this program I don't think more respected and beloved than that guy, with all that he's been through. In some ways, to kind of have your football future taken away because of the severity of the injuries. Most career receptions by a BYU tight end, touchdown receptions in history.
BYU going for 2 here. If they're able to pick it up, it puts them down 16, which turns it into a 2-possession game rather than 3.
Very unusual formation. Retzlaff looking to throw. Slips, did not go down. Scrambling, heaves it, incomplete. So they do not convert the 2-point try. Well, for BYU, their head coach told Kayla, we need some passion. And one of their most passionate players, one of their most popular players, with 3 big plays on that drive. The tight end, Isaac Rex, with a record-setting touchdown, most touchdown receptions by a tight end in BYU history. And for the Cougars, something positive to start the 3rd quarter after getting a 3-and-out stop from their defense. Now the defense will come back on the field, and Iowa State will get the ball back. But back to that trick play touchdown. Well,
Parker Kingston's going to get credited with the touchdown pass, but give the credit to Aaron Roderick for digging into his bag of tricks. Tight end Isaac Rex able to sneak behind the secondary for Iowa State. BYU did a great job of selling the speed sweep. True freshman safety Jamison Patton got his eyes caught in the backfield running downhill. Isaac Rex able to sneak behind the secondary for a huge touchdown.
So now let's see if they can keep that momentum going. Iowa State commits a penalty before they snap the ball.
Offense, number 13, 5-yard penalty, still first down.
Jalen Null, the wide receiver, commits the false start. So Matt Campbell's team has not started the second half the way they finished the first half. First and 15 and a handoff straight ahead. Abu Sama, the young tailback, we saw 2 spectacular runs from him in the first half. He gets 5.
Good pick out by the Cyclones to make it 2nd and manageable. Get 5 yards back after the false start penalty. You're starting to hear this crowd come back alive and play that 12th man factor for the BYU Cougars.
I thought some fans had gone home. Turns out maybe they just went to the parking lot and then found out, hey, we scored a touchdown, let's go back in.
There's a few empty seats, but don't kid yourself, it's going to get loud here on this possession.
Another crowd of 60,000 plus tonight. Becht throws. Showed off some good arm strength there, and a spin away from a would-be tackler by Jaden Higgins. I still think he was a little bit short by about a yard. It'll be 3rd and 1.
Rocco Becht playing such a good football game tonight, just taking what the defense gives him. Cornerback Camden Garrett playing soft. Becht's going to take that underneath hitch all day to Higgins. Just a basic hitch route. Higgins does a great job of making something happen after the catch to make it 3rd and 1.
Not spectacular numbers, but he has played well.
Just efficient, playing within the offense, doing what he's supposed to do.
See if they try some power football here on 3rd and short. They're going to throw it. And the pass is complete, and it's going to be a big gain. Null down the sideline. Null to the 10. Touchdown, Iowa State. On 3rd and 1, they throw the ball and get 66 yards and score.
What a play call by Nate Shieldhouse. Catching BYU in man-to-man coverage. The motion by Knoll tells quarterback Becht that it's man. He can recognize that it's man. And then Knoll being covered by cornerback number 5, Eddie Heckard, who's going to be coming from the middle of your screen, gets caught up on the pick play. Just a perfect play design by Nate Shieldhouse. Nowhere to go for Eddie Heckard. He needs to find a way to fight through that pick and get out there to cover Jalen Knoll. But credit the Cyclones with the great play.
It truly was. All the momentum swinging back to BYU, and then that.
Hey, Iowa State has a lot to play for. They control their own destiny. They win out. They're in the Big 12 title game, and they're playing like they want it tonight.
Now, what moments brought to you by Prudential. Rocco Becht, the redshirt freshman quarterback, with a couple touchdown throws tonight.
Becht showed up in Provo ready to play, just playing such an efficient game. I think the thing that has been so impressive about him is he's just taken what the defense has given him. His offensive coordinator, Nate Shieldhouse, has put him in great situations all night long, and he's been really decisive with the football.
He already has a lot of the freshman throwing records. Now he's one touchdown shy of Brock Purdy's 16 for an Iowa State freshman quarterback in their long football history. Short kickoff has only been sometimes successful. There's Rocco. 13 for 18, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, very efficient.
You know, the thing that I love about him, he just gets better every single week. You know, some people have talked about his turnovers. He's had a couple pick sixes this year, but he learns from them, and then he flushes them, and he moves forward, and he's just a tremendous leader. The intangibles jump off the charts. I think Rocco Becht has a very, very, very bright future in the Big 12.
Mom's quote was a good one this week. What did Mom text him? Don't let your fear of failure get in the way of your dreams. Something like that. Retzloff slings it over the middle to Chase Roberts for a completion out near midfield, and that will be a BYU first down.
For BYU to stay in the football game, they're going to need more of plays like that from Jake Retzloff. He needs to make some plays from the pocket.
Well, we were on the phone with Rocco this week when Mom was texting him a new quote. He was kind of holding up his phone and showing us what the quote of the day was, quote of the week was.
Yeah, great support from those two.
I thought that was a cool tradition. Way to go, Mom. Now a almost sideways throw from Retzloff to Roberts again down the sideline. That was a cool play. BYU's playbook is a little deeper than we have seen for a few weeks tonight. Let's go down on the field to Kayla.
Well, guys, you talk about this comparison between Rocco and Brock Purdy, and head coach Matt Campbell says he has to check himself because he even gets the names mixed up. He says what they both have in common, their humility. They have this innate selfless nature about them. They give credit to everyone else when they win or are successful, but they'll be the first ones to take the heat, even if it's not on them. And he says both played early, both are a bit undersized, yet they earned their right to play as a freshman. And Campbell's 6-year-old son, his name happens to be Rocco. So lately he's been favoring this Rocco out here on the field a little bit more than Brock Purdy. Maybe a little hurt about that, but listen, they share the same name. What can you expect?
I got on Matt Campbell a little bit. Like, how can you call him by the wrong name? He's got the same name as your kid. Rocco Becht. BYU, meanwhile, tried another trick play while we were telling that story, and it didn't work.
No, but shoot, Jake Retzloff, he had a guy open downfield. Aaron Roderick dialed up a good play there, digging back into the bag of tricks. Retzloff just not seeing the field very well tonight.
2nd and 10. Almost like an example. Now the running back, Robbins, falls down. Almost an example of what you were talking about with Becht, where if there's a guy open, the play design works. Rocco Becht knows where to go with the ball. And Jake Retzloff, who's not very experienced, is still learning that.
That's right. And you know, you got to remember, Becht's been starting since week 1 this season. You know, Jake Retzloff, this is his 2nd career start at the Power 5 level for the BYU Cougars. It's going to take time. Very few people just step onto the scene and play great football right away, but you're exactly right. He needs to just start taking what the defense is given to him.
There was a man wide open on that play. Now play clock all the way down to 5. Trying to get lined up here and get the play snapped, and they just do. Hand it off after all that on 3rd and 11, and they get 2 yards. And BYU fans are a positive bunch ordinarily. Not real positive about that last sequence.
Well, Aaron Roderick is just put in such a tough situation right now. His quarterback's not playing great. It's 4-down territory, so you hand the football off to try to make it 4th and manageable, but then your offensive line gets beat up front. Just a very tough situation for an offensive coordinator to be in.
So they are going for it, but it's 4th and 9. Retzloff, a lot of time, and it's incomplete. He threw it behind his intended target, Roberts. Iowa State comes up with the stop on defense. They'll get the ball back. If you throw it near TJ Tampa, you're not likely to succeed. He's really, really good. Cyclones have the ball when we come back. All right, coming up on Tuesday, BYU fans obviously cranky here. You got the 2 State Farm Champions Classic college hoop games, Duke, Michigan State, Kentucky, Kansas, sandwiched in between. The newest reveal of the college football playoff, top 25. Great day of sports on ESPN on Tuesday. First down, Iowa State trying to hit the tight end Bramer, incomplete. It's 38-13 Cyclones. One thing about those rankings, even if the top 4 doesn't change, you learn stuff about what happens below the top 4 to set the stage for the final 2 weeks of the regular season.
It's going to be a fun final stretch. There's a lot of good teams up there in that top 7, 8. Who's going to get to the final 4?
BYU jumped on the hard count by Rocco Becht. And I think they made contact with the Iowa State offensive line. I think that was Jackson Cravens.
Offside. Defense, number 91. Contacted a player in the neutral zone. 5-yard penalty. Still 2nd down.
Jackson Cravens, known to be a very consistent player for this Cougars defense. Transferred over from Boise State, where he was a 2-time academic all-conference player. Not like him to jump off sides like that.
2nd and 5, handoff. Abu Sama gets around the corner, and there he goes. The freshman down the sideline. 10, touchdown. A spectacular night for Abu Sama. 59 yards, and it is all Iowa State right now.
How about the night by that true freshman?
Wow.
Putting on a show.
Well, he had the 2 great Barry Sanders-like moves on different plays in the first half, and now he just shows off the burst and the ability to get to the corner and outrun everybody. 59 yards. He's over 100 yards for the night. He's got 2 touchdowns. We asked him, who's your next great running back? And they said, well, it might be this kid. We're trying to get him up to speed on all the nuances, but Abu Sama, they were not lying when they told us he was really, really talented.
I was going to say, we're told Sama's going to be special. We got to see it firsthand tonight. Just a basic duo inside play where you're setting double teams up front by the Cyclones. BYU just gets all their eyes inside. No one stays outside for contain. Just an undisciplined defense. And with somebody who has speed like Sama, they're going to beat you outside to the outside every single time.
And not to be morbid, but the BYU fans are fleeing for the exits now, with still 5.5 minutes to go in the 3rd quarter.
Sama just has that extra gear that all the great running backs have, right? You know, where BYU, like I said, they all just ran inside to try to make that play inside the box. The speed that Sama presents, he's a game changer.
Fair catch on the kickoff. This season, for every field goal and extra point made by participating universities, Allstate will make a contribution to the university's General Scholarship Fund. Thank you, Allstate. I mean, you feel for what's going on around here. BYU hasn't struggled like this in a long while. It's not easy to make the jump up in competition level. First year as a full member of the Big 12. They've played a representative schedule over the last many years, even as an independent, played a lot of good teams, but it is different week after week to go up against conference opponents. And everybody who's a newcomer to the Big 12 this year has struggled. That pass incomplete on 1st down. Cougars down big here. And it's not just BYU. Hey, Houston struggled. UCF got a great win today, but it's only their second conference win. Cincinnati, I mean, that's a program a couple years ago. They were in the playoff. They're 1-6.
Yeah, I think the biggest difference when you jump to that Power 5 level and you play it week in and week out, it's just the depth. And BYU is a team, you know, they've been hurt with injuries. They've just been decimated there. Their starting lineup can play a Power 5 schedule. It just is the depth there, and I just don't think it's there for the Cougars right now.
L.J. Martin with the run for a BYU first down. I mean, I think it's a great comparison. What the home stretch looks like this year: Texas at West Virginia, Iowa State, Oklahoma State, versus last year Liberty, East Carolina, Boise State, Utah Tech, Stanford.
No ranked opponents to 3 out of your last 5 being ranked guys.
Nice throw down the middle and caught by Cody Epps into Iowa State territory. So there's a positive play for Retzloff, 30 yards down the field.
Well, that was a perfect throw by Retzloff. Just an absolute dime to Cody Epps down the middle of the field, tacking the cover 2 zone defense.
What a difference, though. I mean, just wears you out playing week after week strong opponents. This is the play and the throw you were talking about.
Retzloff having a tough time tonight in the passing game. He's made some plays with his legs, but came back. Great coverage down the field by the Cyclones, but Retzloff puts it where only his wide receiver can make a play on the ball. Great throw and catch.
BYU fans are concerned about how the transition is going. Their head coach preaching patience. Retzloff sort of faked a run, then was looking to throw, then decided to run. There's a flag. In fact, there are 2 flags down the field. Iowa State might have had too many players on the field.
12 players. Illegal substitution. Defense, 12 players during the play. 5 yards from the previous spot. Still second down.
That's why there was nobody open.
Yeah, a little easier to defend with 12 on the field.
So the substitution penalty against Matt Campbell's team. Texas is going to walk into a tough spot. I know Iowa State was at home last week. They started the game so terribly against Kansas, and they lost at home to the Jayhawks. It was a big blow to their Big 12 championship aspirations. But they've bounced back in a major way this week.
Certainly.
Texas, that's not easy for the Longhorns next week on the road.
No, that's going to be a very, very, very difficult game in Ames. It's going to be a fun one to watch.
First time out of the half. Iowa State, 30 seconds.
They still weren't organized on defense, so they take a timeout. Iowa State does.
Talk about that matchup with Texas next week. Iowa State controlling their own destiny. If they win out, find themselves in the Big 12 title game. You know, a week ago against Kansas at home, they only scored 3 points in their first 7 possessions. Well, tonight they obviously fixed that slow start. They got off the bus, they forced turnovers, they scored points. This is an Iowa State football team that just continues to get better and better every single week, and they're peaking at the right time.
And I'm taking that FPI win percentage and I'm crumpling it up and throwing it out the window. I mean, it is definitely higher than 17%. It may not be 60%, but they have a better chance than 1 in 5 to beat Texas next week.
I agree, and
in my opinion,
they're a football team that's playing with a lot of confidence right now. You're right. They had the hiccup last week, but they've won 3 out of the last 4. Looks like they're well in control of this one tonight. Could be 4 out of the last 5. It's a football team peaking at the right time.
Texas is really good, really talented. Retzloff on the move and drilled out of bounds. Here come the penalty flags. Basically, everybody who had a flag threw one.
Carson Willick has to recognize where that big white line is. Got to pull up. That's a clear-cut late hit.
After play was over, personal foul, late hit out of bounds on the defense.
Oh.
Half distance to the goal, automatic first down.
It's not even close.
No, that's not smart.
You know, we talk about teams peaking and playing well in November. Those are those penalties that you just have to avoid. That can't exist. You're going to make a run at the Big 12 title.
Yeah, you want to beat Texas next week? Cannot do that. BYU ball spotted at the Iowa State 12 or close to it. Could get a first down inside the 3. Play fake. Retzloff looking for the end zone. Can't find anybody. Now he's going to run. Retzloff will go down inside the 10.
Tell you what, Jake can make some plays with his legs. He can scramble. He can pick up some yards. There was just nowhere to go with that football down the field. Credit the Cyclones secondary, covering up everybody down the field in the end zone. Jake did the next best thing, picked up some positive yards for his offense.
I mean, you can see why BYU, Keaton Slovis is also hurt, but you can see why they're leaning on him with a offensive line that's been so leaky this year, because he's got great mobility. 2nd down and 7. Martin to the left side. Martin with a stiff arm gets shoved out of bounds close to where they can get a first down. You see where they spot him.
Malik Verdon bringing LJ Martin down. LJ Martin, the big true freshman running back. Tough guy to bring down. Big and physical.
Already one of the best players on the team, they say. Back healthy this week after missing some time.
Quiet, hard worker, goes about his business the right way, disciplined. He's earned the respect of his teammates early on in his career.
They did not give BYU the first down. They hand the ball off on almost like a jet sweep to the fullback, and that did not work. They lose a couple of yards. It's 4th down.
I haven't seen a lot of jet sweeps to the fullback. Sometimes you can catch a defense by surprise. Definitely had the lead blockers out there in front, but just not executed quite well. Credit the Cyclones defense. Malik Verdon coming up from a safety position. Forced the 4th down.
So Paulo slipped. Couldn't get there. Now 4th and 3. Students are hanging in. They're trying to on a chilly night in Provo. Play fake. Retzloff backpedaling, throws. It's caught. Martin stuck the ball out. It's going to depend on the spot. I don't think that he got there. In fact, the official already says no. Turnover on downs.
BYU just trying to out-leverage the Cyclones defense and man-to-man coverage.
Completed pass, short of the line to gain. First down, Iowa State.
Middle safety Bo Freeler there to make the play. Arguably one of the best defensive players in the Big 12, top 10 in tackles and interceptions. The only player to hold that stat in the Big 12. Great job diagnosing the play.
Yeah, almost like he knew exactly where that mark was. So Iowa State gets the ball back. 1:08 to go, 3rd quarter, leading 45-13. They'll hand the ball off on first down. A little move there and another broken tackle. Norton to the 20, still going along the sideline all the way out to the 26-yard line. He got 22 yards pinned up against their own end zone.
Of these Iowa State running backs tonight. Norton here gets his turn to have some fun. Great job pressing the hole. Credit the offensive line. No one touches Norton until he's about 10 yards down the field. That offensive line just winning the line of scrimmage and really letting Eli Sanders and Cartevious Norton, along with Sama, who we've seen make some big plays tonight.
Those rush numbers, over 200 yards now with that last run and almost 8 yards a carry for the game. And off Norton, straight ahead, gets dragged down close to the 30. Just a couple that time on what will be the final play of the 3rd quarter. It's all Iowa State. BYU had a little burst there to start the 2nd half, but since then the Cyclones have wrestled control of this game right back. I called it the final play of the quarter. I can't believe they're going to get it snapped. They aren't. So they will. They lined up. Maybe BYU jumps offside. They didn't do that. The quarter comes to an end.
Well, great teams take over in the 2nd half. And I tell you what, the offense and defensive line in the trenches for the Cyclones have owned the 2nd half of this football game.
standing up for what you know is right while everybody else is.
Top 15 matchup, Indiana and Stanford. Women's college hoops all day tomorrow. Rocco Becht throws the ball, and that one is completed in traffic for an Iowa State first down to the tight end, Easton Dean. First play of quarter number 4.
What a throw by Becht. I thought there was nowhere to go with that football. Becht does a great job of slowing down his tight end Dean so he doesn't run him into traffic, puts it where only his tight end can make a play on the ball.
It was a little mean, that sign. I like Iowa. Handoff right side running, and it wasn't a handoff. It was Carson Hansen just took the direct snap there. I was too focused on the signs. Second down.
Carson Hansen, 6'2", 210-pound true freshman out of Minnesota. Fourth back to get some touches tonight. What an impressive running back room. Over 200 yards on the game. It's been in complete control.
Yeah, and I mean, the presumed starter coming into the year was caught up in the whole gambling investigation and scandal in the state of Iowa that severely impacted both this program and the Hawkeyes. Left side carry for Carson Hansen. Short gain on second down.
Good tackle by Vong Pachan. Forcing a 3rd and long.
You look back on the way this season has gone for Iowa State, because it's hard to imagine. They lost to Ohio, this team. And you just have to think that the turmoil of the early season played a big part in that.
They started 1-3. Now look at what they're doing. They have a chance to find themselves in the Big 12 title game. I think you got to credit Matt Campbell and his staff. So much resiliency on this young football team, playing a lot of underclassmen that just got better every single week.
Clock rolling. They snap it with the play clock at 1. Becht incomplete, trying to hit Higgins. A little too high that time. It'll be 4th down.
I like where Becht put that football outside where only Jaden Higgins can make a play on it. Don't want to put that football in harm's way. Well in control of this football game. I think Becht's played a really good football game. That's a play Higgins can make. Jaden Higgins at 6'4", he's got a long frame, big catch radius. Came in a little hot, but good throw by the quarterback.
High punt and no fair catch signal. Good coverage on special teams. Kingston tripped up and he goes down. That was actually Hobbs Nyberg. BYU will get the ball. It's out every week. You look at the matrix, where are you going to go? We look at column E. It's the best crew, easily. Completion for BYU on 1st and 10, 4th quarter, all Iowa State. Cody Epps with the catch and run. No more reps for the young quarterback. I say young, I mean, he's been around a while, but really young in terms of this level playing experience. Jake Retzloff. Oklahoma next week here at home, and then Oklahoma State. BYU has a lot of work to do, a lot. And one thing you and I were talking about earlier was the transition up to full-time membership in the Big 12, what that means. Kalani Sitake was a part of Utah's program on Kyle Whittingham's coaching staff when Utah jumped up to the Pac-12. It's easy to forget now because the Utes are, if not the most consistent program in that league, certainly one of the handful of. But it did not go well at first, and people here in the state of Utah weren't happy with Kyle and the state of that program. It took them a few years. Retzloff, sidearm sling, and knocked down by Purchase, incomplete.
Yeah, I think the most important to keep in mind if you're a BYU Cougar fan, you know, is just patience. It takes time, and we've talked about it earlier in the show. If you're going to go from a Group of 5 school to a Power 5 school, you might have a starting lineup that can compete, but as the season moves along and you get to November and you sustain injuries throughout the year and you get into the depth of your team, that's really what separates a lot of these schools. BYU is going to hit the recruiting trail very hard and fill that depth.
Last year, this week, they'd be getting ready for Utah Tech. This year, they're getting ready for Oklahoma.
It's a different beast.
Totally.
Week in and week out, it's a totally different deal, especially when you talk about the physical nature of the game. But Kalani Sitake coaching in his 100th career game as the BYU Cougars head coach tonight. Darn good ball coach. He'll get it figured out.
One thing for BYU that has to be a priority, and I know that it is a priority, Throw over the top, and that one is incomplete, trying to hit Roberts on both sides of the ball. Because BYU's got a good tradition of line play. They've had a lot of big dudes over the year. They need better, bigger, stronger, more on both sides of the line.
Yeah, you're right. And the line of scrimmage has been the identity for the Cougars for years, and especially on the offensive side of the ball. They've been known to have this powerful physical run game that creates these play action shots down the field off of it, but you haven't seen that out of this unit this season. Just an offensive line that's really struggled as of late.
And defensive line tonight's been pushed around by Iowa State's offensive line. That heave by Retzloff on 2nd and 10 with several defenders in his face. Incomplete. It's 3rd down.
Retzloff trying to find his tight end Ethan Erickson down the field. Speaking of that offensive line, though, just struggling up front. Big number 95, Dominique Orange, able to get in and apply the pressure for the Cyclones. Retzloff trying his best to move that football down the field and get some points late in this football game.
Third down. Retzloff slips and now goes down. Turf, there have been a lot of that, and late in the season on a natural grass surface, you expect that, but there's been a lot of slipping. 4th down at BYU. They've been going for it, but on 4th and 15 plus, they're going to punt the ball away.
Credit the Cyclones defense for getting off the field, playing man-to-man coverage on 3rd down. Nowhere to go with the football. You can tell Jake Retzloff is trying to get outside the pocket. He's getting ready to scramble, just slips, goes down. Unfortunate for the young quarterback.
He's an unhappy head coach right now. Shorter punt, but it's going to take a BYU bounce all the way inside the 25 and down to the 20-yard line. Takes us to another timeout. 45-13. Iowa State cruising to another Big 12 win.
I did say more ham and bacon, so I purchased more ham and bacon. A lot more. That is a lot more. A lot more ham and a lot more bacon. So now what? Man, don't worry. I got this.
I present this as evidence for all of you who think that NIL is entirely negative.
That's outstanding.
Oh, great. To me, that is what the whole thing is supposed to be.
And to have that lineup and have it to be Iowa State, it's just perfect.
Purchase more ham and bacon.
Right out.
What are we going to do with this? Here comes Cook, in case you just didn't quite get it. That's pretty good.
So good.
And it is. It fits the identity of the program perfectly, the state of Iowa perfectly. Meanwhile, we have some changes in personnel. Mr. Bacon sitting on the bench. I don't know where Hammond is, but Tanner Hughes, one of the backup quarterbacks, is in the game for the Cyclones. Almost runs into his wide receiver running across in front of him.
We're told Tanner Hughes is a physical runner, but let's not run into our own guy, right? Let him clear out.
Kind of takes away your momentum.
Fake speed sweep to the edge, trying to get inside, get some positive yards.
And now Rocco Becht comes back on the field for 3rd and 5. So I was kind of thinking 45-13, under 10 minutes to go. Rocco's night was totally finished.
Yeah, I agree. I thought we'd see the backup J.J. Cole. We just saw, like you said, Tanner Hughes in there mixing it up on a run play.
Rock's just hoping to see a QB as tall as he is on the field. J.J. Cole is a big dude. Swing pass right side, and that's going to be an Iowa State 1st down. Carson Hansen with the catch and run.
Rocco Becht. What a night he's had. At the quarterback position, you know you're in total control when you get to your 4th read, which is your halfback check down there. You recognize that he's out-leveraged the defense, and you're able to pick up a 1st down. Rocco Becht has played just a superb football game tonight here in Provo.
Game started so poorly for BYU. Put the ball on the ground a couple times through an interception. They were down 10-0. Then BYU scored a touchdown, and it was 10-7. And you're kind of thinking, okay, they stabilized. And really, from that moment on, Iowa State has dominated this game.
Complete domination, but I'm with you. I thought we were in for a ball game. The way BYU answered behind running back Aiden Robbins, drove right down the field. Super impressive drive. The stadium was into it, sold out crowd. But that goes back to the Cyclones, and give Matt Campbell and his ball club credit. They're playing great football in November. They're peaking at the right time. Their young quarterback is playing very efficient football. It could be dangerous the next couple weeks.
And off, straight ahead, and just nowhere to go for Hansen. Third down coming up. Iowa State just happy that the clock continues to move.
Iowa State really epitomizes the saying in football, it's not how you start, it's how you finish, right? You start the season 1-3. Going to win 4 out of your last 5. Put yourself in contention if you win out to play for the Big 12 title. Huge matchup next week against Texas at home.
Iowa State fans, things are looking up for the Cyclones, that's for sure. Becht across the middle, incomplete. Ben Nagoy got his hands on the ball but couldn't come up with it, so it's 4th down. Another true freshman playing, Benny Nagoy.
Credit the Cougars defense for getting off the field. Not much of a pass rush, but the secondary is there to make a play when they need them. That's Bomba coming up with the pass breakup. 6'3" corner, getting his lengthy arms in there. Great job getting off the field.
We haven't seen a whole lot of Tyler Perkins tonight. He's a good punter. Got pressured that time, so did well just to get the punt off, and then it takes a big bounce, and then it's picked up. Very dangerous play by the punt returner. Penalty flag thrown. Parker Kingston.
During the kick, holding, number 19 of the receiving team. After this is to the goal, the spot of the or from the end of the kick. First down, BYU.
Yeah.
If you haven't watched Oregon State play football yet this year, tune into that one. Jonathan Smith has his Beavers playing some darn good football.
And you know they're going to try to play keep away from that powerful. Not that Oregon State's defense isn't good, they are good, but they have such a great offensive line and run game. I think Oregon State would like to run the ball 50 times next week.
Yeah, and Reeser Stadium and that chainsaw is going to be going. The fans are going to be into it. That is going to be a phenomenal Pac-12 matchup that has a lot of meaning in that ball game.
I hope we get some rain. A little pitch play from Retzloff out to Martin. He breaks a tackle and makes a nice gain of it outside the 25 to the 27.
Good to see LJ Martin back in the lineup, earned the starting position early on in the season. Coach just said, hey, listen, he makes guys miss. He always will make the first one miss and get to the second level. Got dinged up for a little bit. Aiden Robbins came back, took the starting role. LJ Martin there with a great carry.
First down BYU. Retzloff. Gain of 3.
A lot of true freshmen tonight making big time plays for both schools. LJ Martin, a true freshman. We've talked about Abu Sama on the other side for Iowa State, the running back. 2 touchdowns on the night. Running Black on the offensive line. Lots of youngsters out there making plays.
I mean, just in case you thought that high school recruiting wasn't important anymore with the transfer portal. Penalty flag thrown as the play was starting.
Before the snap, second time out of the half. Iowa State, there is no foul for legal substitution.
Okay, so Iowa State calls the timeout. Maybe our last timeout. We'll see how it goes. Original BYU building, academic building on campus. Just maybe a mile down the road from Lavelle Edwards Stadium. Our driver, Danny, brought us to the game tonight. I wouldn't have known that except for he pointed it out on our ride to the stadium tonight.
Danny was great. Number 1 of the season. No offense to anyone else. Right?
I think his name's Danny. I hope it is.
But he was fantastic. It was such an enjoyable ride. We learned about Provo.
Oh, yeah. Tour guide and transportation.
I loved it. It was great.
Third down here. Retzloff has forever now across the middle, intercepted. He overthrew his intended target, intercepted, and the return along the right sideline by Jamison Patton. Speaking of true freshman, another young guy for the Cyclones comes up with the pick. Third BYU turnover.
Patton getting the start over Jeremiah Cooper, who's injured. Normally the starting safety. Retzloff trying to make something happen late here in the game for his Cougars. Kept his eyes down the field, just misfires to Parker Kingston. A little bit high and behind his wide receiver. Patton makes him pay. Great play by the true freshman.
I'm glad you did bring that up. No Jeremiah Cooper for the Cyclones. Maybe their best defensive player. So they've done this tonight. Second straight week with no Cooper. He made a lot of progress. Maybe could have played, but he wasn't 100%. Matt Campbell erred on the side of caution. Hey, look who's in the game at quarterback, by the way. Penalty flag thrown. Don't blame the QB. J.J. Cole, true freshman from the home state of Iowa. He is 6'7", 250.
Holding. Offense. Number 84. 10-yard penalty. Still first down.
So our first chance to see J.J. Cole.
The big fella.
Now, when you played, what were you listed? What was your height listed at?
Oh, you got to make me be honest right now?
Yeah.
6 foot. Well, I take that back. I was going to say 6'7". It was 6'8" when I was at Arizona State, and I'm not sure why that happened, but it did. I recognized it, and I didn't like it because I am only 6'7".
Okay.
So when I went to the NFL, we bumped it down an inch.
Because there's like a bias if you get too tall. For some reason, people think it's like a disadvantage.
That's exactly right. If you're a basketball player, you want a couple extra inches with your height. If you're a football player, you don't want to be too tall depending on the position. It just doesn't look right.
Now, you were a basketball player also.
Yeah, so just kind of depending on the sport. You know, basketball, I'm 6'8". Football, I'm 6'7", right?
I have no problem with that. No problem with that.
Got to get these things right.
There's J.J. Cole. Second down and 18. The final 4 minutes of this game. Iowa State's going to head back to Ames with a very impressive win and start to get ready for Texas next week. Cole swings it. A low throw, but nice catch, and then a good run by Hansen to get inside the 35. Let's go down to Kayla.
Well, guys, the great Steve Young is in the house here tonight. His daughter, Summer, is a track star. She's being recruited here on her visit for BYU. Brock, of course, I mentioned your name. He thought you were going to come down here pregame and toss the ball around. He's a big fan of you, Brock. So Steve Young in the house. He was at the basketball game last night, went to the soccer game. He wanted a hat trick here today, but so far, 2 for 1. 2 of 1 here for BYU.
I guess I just get totally left out, huh? No mention
Sorry,
of me.
Dave.
I'm buddies with Steve Young.
He's a big fan of you, too.
Oh, he's my friend.
My bad, Dave.
He's got totally left out. Jeez.
Steve, I'd love to come see you, but that field is way too far away from where this booth is up here.
We are literally on the roof. Way up top. There we are. High up above. And, I mean,
oh, and there's Steve's name right below us.
Oh. He should have come up here, seen his sign. Savino Tim next to us, part of our crew. We got Naveed, we got Jerome. We're all one big happy family up here. Cole is going to throw over the top and incomplete. Goy, the intended receiver. 4th down here, and let's see if Matt Campbell is going to send his field goal team out. Get a chance to get a rep for Chase Contreras or something else.
Matt Campbell was running in trying to get a timeout there on that 4th down call.
Oh, and my bad. That was 4th down. I got a little caught up in Steve Young and my grievances against being not included in the hello to Steve Young. That was 4th down.
Easy to do. Steve Young was a baller.
Oh my goodness.
He was my favorite quarterback when I was a kid.
When you think about the quarterback tradition here at BYU, pretty amazing. But Steve Young, of all of them, in terms of his success at this level, I mean, Steve Young is truly one of the handful of greatest players in the history of this sport.
No question. Absolutely. No debate on that.
And look, this is not me being harsh on Retzlaff, but BYU's got to get better at that position too. They have not had their normal standard of quarterback play this year. Retzlaff is getting experience. That's part of what they got to get ironed out here. When we're finished, coming up on SportsCenter, lots to get to. Stan and Steven, Wolverines, that emotional win without Jim Harbaugh, and maybe a look ahead to the next week around that Michigan program. Historic night in the NWSL, highlights from UFC, that and more. SportsCenter when we're finished. Final minute and a half. BYU, I mean, you can imagine the task for Kalani Sitake with Oklahoma coming here next week.
Yeah, Oklahoma finishing up with Oklahoma State. You know, and he challenged his football team this week. We really thought that we were going to see the best that the Cougars had to offer. Iowa State had some different intentions.
Retzlaff throws high, incomplete.
And that's just kind of been the story of the night for Retzlaff. You know, just when he's made a couple plays, and especially with his legs, he's been very dangerous outside the pocket. I think he's tucked the football and he's picked up some good yards at the right time. He's just been inaccurate down the field, a little bit high behind receivers at times. You go back to what Kalani Sitake needs to do to get this program going in the right direction. It definitely starts at the quarterback position. You can look at the offense and defensive line, getting some depth, but definitely have to figure out who's going to be the quarterback moving forward here in Provo.
Penalty flag, a hit on the quarterback. Ball was incomplete, but we may be getting a penalty against the defense.
You have to remember, too, with Retzlaff, this is his second career start at the Power 5 level.
Personal foul. Roughing the passer. Number 89 in the defense. 15-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
You know, he's a quarterback that was playing junior college football last year. Obviously, at the Power 5 level, the game, the speed, it picks up so much. There's the personal foul, roughing the passer on Jones. Back to Retzlaff, you know, give him some time. Let him get in these games. I thought he played pretty solid last week on the road at West Virginia. Didn't put up a lot of points on the board, but showed some good poise, decision-making. Tonight, like I said, had some inaccurate moments, but outside of that, you can tell he's got some gunslinger, playmaker in him. Give him some time. Good things might happen.
Rolling right and just goes out of bounds. He was the junior college quarterback, basically the first team junior college All-American quarterback last year. Was going to go to UTEP, and then things sort of went awry there. Ended up, he told us, in what he thought was a much better scenario here at BYU, getting a chance to play. We'll see if Keaton Slovis can get back healthy, if maybe BYU gives him a chance to play again before the year's out.
Well, that's a great point, because you got to remember, BYU still has a lot to play for. They're trying to get that 6th win, which gets you to that bowl game, which is so big for the program in so many ways. Extra practices.
It is. Nice job there that time to find the tight end. That's Ethan Erickson. BYU first down.
Big tight end Ethan Erickson, number 87, 6'5", 240 pounds, just coming across the middle. Great job by Retzlaff, hanging in the pocket. Takes a big hit as he delivers that football. Gets some positive yards for his team late in this ball game.
Retzlaff running, goes into a slide. They'll spot him back at the 14. Clock is rolling. We're down to 30 seconds to go. BYU just trying for something at the end of this game. Final 20 seconds. Retzloff toward the end zone, almost intercepted, incomplete.
These are critical reps for Retzloff. I know it's late in the game. Obviously, it's way out of reach. You're talking about a young quarterback. Who knows, does Keaton Slovis come back? Does he earn that starting job? You just mentioned BYU playing home to Oklahoma next week, but then they have Oklahoma State. And Oklahoma State had a tough game today against UCF. Talk about trying to get to that 6th win. These reps matter for the BYU offense.
Trying to find somewhere to go with the football. Now zips that one incomplete. Intended for Miles Davis. 5 seconds to go. It's 4th down. I think for everybody's benefit, it would be good if this is the final play of this game. Either way. The students, a lot of students have hung around to the very end. Matt Campbell's coaching hard to the end. He's got some young guys on the field getting a chance to play. 4th down, 5 seconds to go. Retzloff scrambling, throws to the end zone, and that one is almost intercepted. It's incomplete, and the game comes to an end, a fitting end, because Iowa State just dominated this one.
Iowa State couldn't have come on the road and played a better football game coming into a hostile environment here at Lavelle Edwards Stadium. But I tell you what, the Cyclones were impressive tonight, and they are headed back to Iowa with a lot to play for next week against Texas.
Well, for our whole crew, our producers, Joe Taylor, Robin Segretti, our director, Johnny Hanna, for Brock Osweiler, Kayla Burton. I'm Dave Fleming. Thanks for watching college football on ESPN. Don't miss College Football Final, presented by Cheez-It. That's tomorrow at 1 Eastern, right here on ESPN. That'll do it from Provo. Great win for the Cyclones. Sports Center starts now.